Hello, hello. This is Summer Lowry. I am on fire for change, and it's Friday. But I'm still on fire. I'm actually not car casting right now. I'm hammock casting. So I'm sitting in my hammock in my backyard watching my dog, who is watching... Ow. God. I don't even know what I just did. I bobbled my phone and hit myself in the eye with it. Okay. Anyway, I'm watching my dog, who is watching. I don't know what she's watching. She's obsessed with this one section of the fence. So there's got to be some rodents on the other side. I don't know. Yeah. But anyway, so started the CarCast / podcast, whatever you want to call it. And I realized, I'm like, oh boy, we've reached the era. Podcasts are like assholes. Everybody's got one. It's so true. Even I have one. This was, because I used to work for a company. I won't say the company name because I don't know if that's kosher. I don't even know if saying kosher is kosher. So, whatever. Anyway, I used to work for a company that they do like summer camps for kids and teens. They're computer camps. So literally you go to a camp and you sit on a computer. It's like the freaking polar opposite of camping, but it's called a camp and you pay for this, right? And I used to have to hire the staff. And I got to the point, I don't know what year this was, but like initially everything was like, very cutting edge. Because I think I started working for them in like 2003. So it was like, oh my gosh, like learning how to make a website? Like what? You're going to go learn how to make a website? Oh my God. And websites at the time required actual coding. Now, freaking any idiot can make a website. I made a website. If that tells you anything, right? I didn't use a lick of coding. And other things like, oh my gosh, the kids who did like C++ and Java. Well, first of all, there was a very small group of them and they were very strange. I will just being totally honest, right? But this was, 2003. Now it's like, kids practically freaking speak Java. I don't know how they do that, but they do. And then a couple of years in, so initially when I first started working for the company, there were certain things where it was like, gosh, it's really hard to find people that can teach this skill set. Well, we had some programs that it was like, okay, you can learn this software in a couple of months before you come work at the camp, and then you can teach this program. Sorry for the creaking. I still can't figure out what that creaking is, but it is constant in my backyard. I think it's actually my neighbor's backyard. I don't know. It's constant. I hear it all night, all day, anytime there's a breeze. So I apologize if you're hearing a creaking. But anyway, so there were certain skill sets. It was hard to come by. Like someone who could do 3D modeling. That was like, oh my God, that was like freaking gold. You could not find anyone who knew how to do like Maya or 3ds Max. Like it was like nearly freaking impossible. But they could learn, there were certain things that they could learn, like these 2D game design programs, that they could, if they were smart enough and they had some skills, like they could easily learn this software in a couple of months before coming to camp and then teaching it to some kids whose parents were paying like thousands of dollars for them to learn this stupid crap. Anyway, so, but, the honestly, like I hate to say it, but like the bottom of the totem pole was like people who could do web design, because it was like okay, you know HTML, you know how to design a website. Like, okay. Do you have any other skills? Because freaking everybody knows how to do that. And that was, by like 2004, 2005, like literally every person that applied, it was like, yeah. Okay. You know how to design a website. And I'm not talking like a plug and play website. Like these people, they already knew how to design a website, like from scratch, like with coding. And so it became like, I started, telling my coworkers, cause we would get these applications. We had to hire like, several hundred people to come work there in the summer. So, and you need it. And then the things that were in demand was like, things kids really wanted to learn, like 3D game design, like, okay, if they were coming to learn web design, it was like, really? You couldn't learn that on your own? Your parents are going to pay for you to learn web design? Like that was popular at first because everybody was like, oh, everybody needs to learn how to make a website. Then that went so fast, right? And then it became, oh, you gotta know some of the 3D stuff. You gotta know C++ and Java. It was like so hard to find people who knew that type of programming. Well, then it was like, oh, everybody knows C++ and Java. Okay, tell me something else. Like, what else you got, kid? And then it was like iPhone app. Like if they knew how to program iPhone apps or Android apps, they were like, oh my gosh, they were the freaking gold standard, right? Anyway, I started saying like, because people would come and they'd be like, yeah, I have, I can make websites. I'm like, okay. So I started saying websites are like assholes. Everybody's got one. You don't even know why. And at first it was like, it was such a hot commodity, right? Like, it's so cool. Oh, you have a website? Then it became websites are like assholes. Now, like what, a year ago, maybe 2 years ago, it was like, you have a podcast? Like podcast, people who had podcasts, it was like only certain, This American Life, right? Like that was a podcast. What else? I don't know. And now podcasts are like assholes. Everybody's got one, including this asshole right here, me. So anyway, I don't even know where I'm going with this, but it's like, what's next? Like, what's going to be the next thing? I'm so curious, right? Because I'm kind of an observer. Like, I'm really like, I am like a voyeur of societal trends. Like, I don't usually jump in on things because I'm like, that's a trend. Like, what'll be the next trend? And it's like, how do you keep up with all this shit? But at least with podcasting, I'm like, I'm just sitting in my hammock talking shit into my voice recorder, and I have a podcast, right? I drive to work, talk to myself in the car, I have a podcast. It's kind of amazing. It's actually it's easier than a website. It's easier than almost anything I do, right? But same time, podcasts are like assholes. So what is the next asshole? That's what I want to know. What's the next asshole? Because really, if you want to make it big, it's not about this asshole. It's about the next asshole, right? So if anybody knows what the next asshole is, please, by all means, drop something in the comments. And I know there's somebody out there, they're going to put in the comments, I made 10 grand in 3 hours doing blah, blah, blah. Yeah, okay, go ahead. Put it in there, right? But yeah, that's my big question for today. What's the next asshole? Somebody tell me. Okay, love you guys. I love you. Have a great Friday. Happy Friday!